Hey guys, it's Indy here and welcome back to my channel. So if you have read the title of this video, it is my labor and... Hold on. I have a visitor with me now. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get through this, but this is my unmedicated labor and delivery story. I don't know. I don't think I'll be posting this today. I might try to post it today. But if you're watching this today, as of today, baby girl is 1 month old. I literally can't believe it's been a month since I had my baby. Like, this is crazy. And I'm a mom of 3 now. This is absolutely crazy. Quick, if you're not subscribed to this channel, would you consider subscribing? Just click that red button down below so you'll be updated when I post a new video. Let's just jump into the story. Okay, so like I said, baby girl I gave birth to her April 14th. So she's a month old today because today is May 14th. Yay! So we're just going to start back from the Saturday before. Okay, so, because I went to labor, or I had her on a Sunday. So we're going to go to the day before I had her. Okay, so the day before I had her, I didn't feel anything differently. Actually, when I had hit my 37th week, I was hoping, and I was under the impression that I might give birth to her early because this is my 3rd baby. And, you know, everything moves quicker. That's what everybody was telling me. But no activity whatsoever. I was honestly barely dilating. At my last doctor's appointment and my 39th week checkup, I was like a fingertip and a half. Like, that's how dilated I was. Like, I was not dilated at all. But my doctor wasn't concerned. She said, looking at my history, I seemed like I was right on track. And if I hadn't gave birth to her that Sunday, which was my due date, and I made it for my appointment, which was going to be that next Wednesday, we would go ahead and schedule an induction because she didn't like you to be pregnant past 40 weeks. So if I would have waited to the following Sunday, which would have been Easter Sunday, I would have been 40 weeks pregnant. And she didn't want to wait that long. So Saturday was a regular day, got up running errands, running around the girls, and I remember my husband telling me, are you going to walk today? And I'm like, I really wasn't, because in my mind I just figured she's going to come when she wants to come. But I'm like, I might as well. I don't have anything to lose. So me and the girls ran into some errands. I have 2 little ones, if you don't know. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And after we were done with the errands, we went to the track. I don't live that far from a high school. So we went to the track and we walked around a mile. So I walked around 4 times. If I can find some of my Instagram footage from that day, I'll put it right here. It was really funny. So anyway, later on that evening, I was thinking to myself, well, if I do happen to go into labor today, I really want some Popeye's chicken wings. So I think I'm about to go get some. Now, at that time, it was about 6:30 when I went out to go get chicken. Needless to say, I did not get my chicken that night. I went to a Popeyes, a KFC. It was a huge debacle, okay? But while I was out around 8:30, and I noticed, well, between 8 and 8:30, I noticed that I felt some leaking. And I'm like, now what is that? That's not discharge. Can't be my water breaking because I didn't feel gush, but I just knew it was weird. So as I was out trying to get more food, I was leaking some more. And by the time I got home, it was probably close to 8. No, it was about 9 o'clock when I got home. And I told my husband, I'm like, something's happening. I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. I think my water might have broke. And he's just like, oh, okay. So I went to the bathroom. I had a maxi pad on already, just in case, to track it, just in case my water did break. I'm just thinking ahead of time, which is crazy because my water has never broken with my 2 previous pregnancies. And I was looking at it, and the fluid wasn't like watery and clear. It kind of had like a white tinge to it, so I didn't really know. So what I did was I went ahead and changed my pad. Cleaned up, changed my pad. Walking around the house a little bit more, and went to the bathroom because I noticed I was leaking, and went through another bed. So I changed my pad the third time. And by that time, I'm like, this has got to be my water because I don't know what else this would be. So I called the on-call doctor, or paged the on-call doctor, and they called me back. And they were saying, over the phone, there's really no way to tell if it's your water. But it did sound like it was my water. But the thing was, my contractions weren't at a pattern. I think they're supposed to be like 5 minutes apart. They were not at that pattern. I was telling them that. And they're like, well, you can either wait till your contractions are a little bit more consistent, or you can come in and just let us check you. Like, there's nobody here. You might as well let us check you, because we're thinking, if it happens to be your water that's broken, this is your third pregnancy, and we don't want you to just be somewhere and all of a sudden you fly into labor and you're just somewhere. So I'm like, okay. So in my mind, I'm just kind of like, I don't really want to go, because I don't want to go and let them send me home because my contractions aren't where they're supposed to be. But after deliberating, I told my husband to call his mom, let his mom know, because my mother-in-law stayed with my kids, and then I called my mom to let her know that I was going in, because it was going to be my mother and my husband in the delivery room. Okay, so we arrived at the triage between 10 and 10:30. Got there, did the preliminary thing, name, information, all your personal information. They took us back to the triage, where they told me that they were going to do this test where it could show if my water had broke, because I still hadn't had a full-on gush. It was still just kind of trickling out like a slow little leaky kind of faucet. So they said the test was kind of like a pap smear. It was like almost the same thing as a pap smear, and they would get some of the fluid, and then they would test it in a machine or look at it under a mic. I don't know. I think it went into a machine or something. So we did that, and then they checked me for dilation. So at that time, I was dilated to about 3.5 centimeters. And they came back and they told me that my water had broken, which I already knew, because I'm just kind of like, what else would that be? So at that point, the nurse told me, okay, so we're going to contact your doctor and we're going to see what, she wants to do. So they came back to me and they said, okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to let you labor and we'll check on you in 4 hours. What was your plan for medication? And I told them my plan for medication is nothing. I wanted to have a natural birth. This was my first unmedicated birth. My previous 2, I had 2 epidurals. And yeah, so in my mind, I was saying, I'm going to do this. Even though I had reservations I'll get into that later, but in my mind, I said, I'm going to do this. And they're like, okay, great, cool. So at that time, I had my husband call my mother and let them know that they were keeping me and what I was dilated to, and that they were going to check me in 4 hours. She was like, oh, you're at 3.5. Well, you got a lot to go, girl. Call me back when you at a 5, okay? Okay. So, like, literally 2 minutes after she hung up, she ended up calling my husband back and saying that she was on her way. Okay, so a little bit passed, so I'm thinking I'm just going to stay in the triage. I'm just like, I guess I'm staying in the triage because I'm not ready yet. So, at that time, the nurse came to take me to my room. So we walked down to my room. They asked me, did I need a wheelchair? Could I walk? I'm like, I can walk, Now, at this time I'm having contractions. They're not intense, but they're at the point where I need to kind of like breathe through them. Because I'm just kind of like, this contraction's got a little twitch of pain in it. Got a little twitch of pain, but I'm going to breathe through. So we walked down to the room, and by the time I got down to my room, my mom got there. Great. So the nurse went through all the regular things, starting my IV, trying to get me hooked up to a monitor, and she gave me the option of being hooked up to a portable monitor because I had expressed that I wanted to go natural. And she was like, well, I'll hook you up to a portable monitor. This way you can walk the hallways, you can bounce the ball, which was great because when I had my daughter there, my second oldest, almost 4 years ago, well, close to 4 years ago, when I told the nurse that I wanted to go natural, after I started my IV, she told me that I can walk around after she told me that I could. She told me once they started my IV, I could walk around. But then once I got my IV in, she's just like, no, you can't walk around. And I'm just like, bet, I'm going to take my epidural then. So this time around, that was like in my mind. And I had already kind of like been praying about it. And I'm like, God, like, Lord, I'm like, I cannot do a natural labor just sitting in the bed. I can't do it. I just can't just sit in the bed and just sit there and go through contractions. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna go through it. If you tell me I can sit in the bed, I'm gonna just be on the side of the bed then. I'm gonna get up when I have to, and that's just what it's gonna be. So when she told me that I could walk around, I was like, oh my God, I feel like God just was looking out for me and answered my prayers. So she got me hooked up to the portable monitor, and at that time, me and my husband went to walk around the hallway. Now, like I said, I got there between 10 and 10:30. At the time when I was in my room, I got to my room, it was like midnight. It was like close to like maybe 1:30. Yeah, no. It was close to 1 o'clock. Close to 1 o'clock. So, we went and we walked around the hallway. The hallway of the hospital was like in a U shape. So I told my husband, I'm like, okay, we're going to do 3 rounds. Okay? So now at this point, I'm breathing through these contractions. Like the contractions are coming. They're not like excruciating, but they had made themselves known. And I definitely have to breathe and concentrate to get through these contractions and try to keep my body relaxed so my body can do what it needs to do. So, like I said, it's in a U shape. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to walk around 3 times. So we slowly do this U 3 times. So, which I think kind of averages out to 6 because we start at the hallway, at the beginning of the hallway, go around, come back 1. Okay, go around again, come back 2. Go around again, come back 3. So I guess it was kind of like almost 6 times. But anyway, I noticed when I got to like that second time that when my contractions were really, really hard, I felt like my body was literally just bearing down. And it startled me at first because I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, it's like, it's kind of like you're taking a poop and you don't really know. It's like I didn't have any control over my body. So it startled me. I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on? And I remember stopping in the hallway like, oh my gosh. And my husband just kind of looking at me. But I'm like, okay. So we made it through the last cycle, going around the hallway, and we came back in the room. So at that time, the nurse was trying to explain to me that the portable monitor wasn't working as well as they wanted to. So if she couldn't really fully adjust it again, then I would just have to be put back on the regular monitor. Which at that time, I honestly did not care because your girl was in some pain, okay? The contractions went up. I like adjust my monitor, so she's like, do you want to sit on the bed? Do you want to try to bounce on the ball? And I'm like, let's try to bounce on this ball. So I'm sitting bouncing on this ball, not really knowing what I'm supposed to do bouncing on this ball. And I'm getting some contractions, and we can see them on the monitor. Well, I wasn't looking at them, but like my mom and my husband and the nurse were watching them, and my mom was like, yeah, that was a big one. And I'm like, who are you telling? Yeah, it was. And I remember after I had one really big contraction when I was sitting on that ball, I was just like, I literally just peed on myself. Like, I peed on myself. And there's one thing that happened, like my mom was like, I didn't know they did that. Like, I had a pair of panties on and a sanitary napkin on. And she was like, that was different. Like, why would they, do that? But I figured that since they knew I was going to be walking around, and, there's a lot of liquids and stuff coming out of you when you're in labor. In order to be a barrier of that and catch some of that, I think that's why they just had me have the panties and the pad on to catch some of that. Because when I was on that ball, because she put a towel on the ball and I'm sitting on the ball and I'm on that ball and I'm like, I just felt a big gush of water. And my mom was like, well, that's good. That probably was. I said, I don't know if I peed on myself or my water broke, or the rest of my water broke. And my mom's like, that's good. Your water probably broke. So I'm like on this ball, and the contractions are getting more intense and more intense and more intense. And I'm just like, Oh my God, like, oh my God. And I'm just, the whole time, like, even when I was in the hallway, I was just, I feel like I'm about to get emotional. Okay, so my camera cut off. Sorry about that. But, like I was saying, like, the whole time I was in the hallway, I was just praying. I'm like, Lord, you know, please help me. Like, help me. I need your help. I can't get through this by myself. I need your help. Help me. And, he did just that. So, um, so anyway, bounced on the ball. And the contractions are intense. I get this really bad contraction. And I'm telling the nurse, I'm telling my mom, I'm like, I feel like my body's just pushing down. Like I have no control over it. It's like pushing down. And she's like, well, that means you're probably close. You know, you should tell your nurse. So we told the nurse, or I actually had another contraction. And it was bad. And she could tell that it was bad. It was intense. And she was like, okay, well, we're going to get you in the bed. And we're going to check you. And I'm like, okay. So I get in the bed, and at this point, these contractions are coming. They're like boom, 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 boom. And I don't know if they were like getting like more painful, if it was that they were getting more painful, or if it was just that I wasn't getting a break. It was like they were coming, and they was just coming, okay? And I wasn't getting a break. So they were finally able to check me, and I was dilated to an 8. Yes, an 8. So, you know, they're really coming like fire now. They're coming. Now at that time when they found out I was dilated to 8, they called the doctor and like the staff and the team. She just pooped. She just pooped. The delivering staff and everything, they're coming in, you know, so they're just waiting around, and my pains are intense. I'm going crazy at this time. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this, I can't do this. And my mom, it was like a movie. She's just like, idiot, pull yourself together. And I'm just like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And so when the contractions were coming, I'm just like, oh, you know, they could tell like my body was pushing down, and my one of the doctors was like, well, India, you know, try not to push because you can rip your cervix if you're not ready. And I'm like, okay. And I burst into tears because I was just like, oh my God, I can't control it, and my body's just doing whatever. And then I was like, concentrate on your breathing. Look at me. Breathe, 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 breathe. And I'm breathing, 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 crying, breathing. And at this point, I'm just like, I changed my mind. I will take an epidural. I can't do this. Now they tell me I'm going to rip my cervix. I'm going to bleed out on this table. Like, it was crazy. So, about another 10 minutes goes by. Like, it went by fast. Like, time was going by fast. 10 minutes goes by and they're like, you're at 10, let's go, it's time to push. Now the pushing part is always a hard thing for me. I feel like I pushed a lot longer than I should have. It was like, I never really know exactly how to push. I know, third baby, I probably should, but I never really get it. So I was pushing a little bit longer. So then I'm crying again because I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, my legs are so heavy. Like, I can't pull my legs up. They're so heavy. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't get her out. So I'm crying, like, in between contractions. Like, I can't get her out. And they're like, yes, you can. You're almost there. We see her head. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And let me tell you, they talk about a ring of fire. And some people is like, oh, there's no ring of fire. There's a ring of fire. It's very real. And the ring of fire is when your baby is crowning. Like, the head is like crowning through, you know, your vajayjay. But the thing is, there's like an intense burning sensation. The thing is, there's so much other pain that's going on, and I'm so used to being in pain that honestly really didn't bother me that much at that point. So it's like, even though your contractions are coming, it's like they hurt, but it's like they hurt more like when you're like just having them instead of pushing. So I do remember when I started pushing, I'm just like screaming, like I'm pushing and I'm like, ah, I'm screaming because I'm just like thinking, I just need to use all this might to get this baby out. But that was crazy because at a certain point my doctor was just kind of like, that screaming is really not going to help you. So, you know, you might not want to scream and just kind of concentrate on pushing it, bearing down and pushing the baby. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So I stopped it, and I believe I pushed for a good 15 and 20 minutes, and she was here. And she was here at... Here, mamas. Here, mamas. Here, mamas. So she was here, and she was here. Now, remember I told you I got to the hospital at about 10:30. She was born at 2:41 a.m. That was like the fastest labor out of all my labors that I've ever had. My other two labors were a little, well, my other labors were very different from this one. But she was born at 2:41 a.m., 7 pounds, 8 ounces, 21 inches long, and completely healthy. We had a little bout of jaundice, but that's a common thing, and mom was healthy, and yeah. And this is my mom was. That's my mommy. Hi, mommy. Who's not very happy right now. So, yeah. The only thing I can say is that God just literally showed himself so faithful to me through this whole experience. I remember thinking in my head, like, before it happened, like, I hope it's quick. I just hope it's quick. Everybody says it's going to be fast, it's going to be quick. I hope it's quick. My labor was 4 hours. That's pretty darn quick. My labor and delivery, the whole thing took about 4 hours. Pretty darn quick. And I did it unmedicated. And no, I take no glory for myself. That was God. Because if anybody knows me, my pain tolerance is extremely low. It is not high. And God is the one that got me through that. And I could not have done that without him. He was so faithful to me in this labor. We had no complications. It was fast, and we were able to do it unmedicated. And I have to say that had to be God speaking to my mom. Like, when she said she was going to come until, you know, close to that 4 hours, like, had she waited, she would have missed the whole thing. And let me tell you something. I don't think I would have been able to get through my whole labor without her. Like, she, like, kept me, like, on the straight and narrow, kept me focused, let me know I could do it. Like, I just thank God for my support system, my mom, my husband, and just the Lord. Like, he was with me and with baby girl. I'm about to cry every step of the way, and I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful. So, yeah. That's all, you guys. That's my whole labor and delivery story. Unmedicated labor and delivery. Yeah, so tune in. I will do a postpartum update. That'll probably be the next video. But I am going to get ready to go because she's getting cranky. She pooped, and I got to change her diaper. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you in another video. Bye. Oh, I forgot. Oh, okay. She's not happy. She's not happy. But I never told anybody her name. Her name is Layel. Baby Layel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not, so you will be up to date when I upload new videos. I love you guys so much. Bye. Say bye, mamas. Say bye, mamas. Say bye, mamas. Bye, mamas.